Welcome to The Code, your guide to health and human performance. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Fix from Physio Room, a performance-based rehab facility here in Denver. On this podcast, we're going to explore the key areas of your life that impact your overall health and wellness, from sleep hygiene and stress management to nutrition, movement, relationships, and more. We bring you conversations with industry experts and top performers to share strategies they have for cracking the code on health and human performance. Now let's get to today's show. What's going on, Code listeners? Dr. Andrew Fix back from Physio Room to knock out another episode with you guys. I really appreciate you being here, tuning in to listen to this. We're going to have another one of those, hopefully highly informative, shorter nuggets of information today. And today we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. I know it is to a lot of other people who really prioritize their health and their fitness, and that's food preparation. Right. For anyone that, sees me eat, sees my Instagram or anything like that, for quite a while now, I have been practicing food prepping, typically on the weekends, but sometimes it happens on other days of the week too. As of the recording of this, it's a Monday. It's about 6:15 in the evening, and I'm about to go downstairs, watch a little bit of Monday Night Football, and do a little bit of food prepping because I had a few meals that lasted me through the weekend, and we're going to knock some out right now so that I have meals to carry me through the rest of the week. And I know a lot of times when people are plagued with challenges from a nutrition standpoint or a time-saving standpoint, this is a topic that comes up, and there's a lot of obstacles that could get in the way, right? But what I wanted to talk about is why I food prep, right? And it's not because I can't just figure out what I'm going to eat on a day-to-day basis. I could do that. But there's a couple main reasons why I do food prepping. And I think the biggest one actually might be just a consistency factor of it, right? I know, no matter what topic of life or facet of life you're talking about, I know one clear-cut thing that a lot of people are going to talk about. If you're going to be successful in something, it's this concept of consistency and of being consistent. We've heard things about like the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule or whatever that might be. I think the biggest reason that I food prep is so that I can stay consistent. And then I know that it's not the end of the world if I get off track a little bit and I have some treats or I eat some things that might not be serving me, might not be in the best interest of my health on the weekend or in the evening or something, because I know the majority of my food that I eat throughout the day, I've already planned it ahead of time. I know what it's going to be. And what's really cool is I get to wake up in the morning. I'm packing my lunch for the day. Typically what I prep, right, is lunches, right? I tend to pack my lunch and some snacks throughout the day. I generally eat dinner at home. So I usually don't do a ton of food prepping for dinner. Like I have the food prepped, but I put it together from the refrigerator onto my plate in the evening. But what I pack is those lunches. And quite frankly, you guys, I basically make the same thing for lunch every single day. Lately, what that has been looking like is some ground beef or a mixture of like ground beef and bison. Usually that's grass-fed 85-15 kind of ground beef. Sometimes it's mixed with bison, whatever I find at the store, right? Sometimes I'm at Costco, sometimes I'm at a different grocery store, and sometimes I buy what's on sale and sometimes I don't. But I just make it kind of simple. It's like a ground meat, and then I'll throw like a big handful of spinach in there. I'll usually have some form of a carbohydrate. That's usually some form of a potato, whether it's sweet potatoes or something else, or some rice. And that's kind of the main bulk of the lunch. I'll usually mix that with a piece of fruit or a handful of berries or something. Sometimes I will throw in a half or so of an avocado, and then usually 2 hard-boiled eggs. Hard-boiled eggs have become a favorite of mine lately because they're so easy. It's a way to get like real food in. I'm trying to cut down on my consumption of, like protein bars and protein shakes and things. I'm trying to eat more real food. And that's been a good way for me to do that. And, but what I was getting at is when I wake up in the morning and I'm, making some coffee and getting some water in and preparing myself for the day, it makes my packing of my lunch so easy because I don't have to think about what I'm going to grab when I reach into the refrigerator. I have all my packaged up lunches, boom, 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 right there. Usually there's 5 or 6 of them for the different days of the week. And I just grab one of those. I grab 2 eggs, peel them right there in the sink, put them in a little plastic container, and then I grab whatever my piece of fruit is going to be. Usually, if it's like berries, I put those in a container, or sometimes it's a banana or an apple, or you guys get the picture there. I'll grab that avocado, and boom, whatever my other snacks are going to be for the day, throw it all in my lunch pack, and I'm off to work. And that's the exact same process that I go through every single day, right? It's the same thing every day, so that there's less choices for me to make and there's less room for error. Because if you're like me, it is really hard to avoid things that are very tasty, but it's easier when you already have a plan for what you're going to do. And that plan is already set for you. You can just say, no, this is what I'm going to grab. Boom, 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 throw those things in, and it's done. Right. So it helps keep me consistent, and it helps me avoid choices that might take me off course from what my original plans were. Now, what are some of the other reasons that I do food prepping? I mean, quite frankly, it takes time to break out the dishes, the air fryer, the pots, the pans, whatever you're going to use. So the less times that you can do that throughout the week, you're going to save time on the taking them out, getting things prepared, and on the cleaning aspect of that. So if you can bulk your cooking, potentially doing some food prep on a weekend. Now I realize, some people have children, Saturdays and Sundays might be absolutely packed with other things. So maybe that's not the best day to do your food prepping. For me, I'm going to do a little bit right now on Monday, but I also want to watch the football game. So I'm going to kind of do those at the same time. I'm going to kind of angle the television over so I can watch the game, just because I'm a huge football fan. But I know I won't have a nice consistent lunch packed if I don't get this done tonight. And I want to have that ready for me in the fridge tomorrow morning. So, but if you can cook a bulk of food all at once, like say you cook a couple servings of rice and you cook a bunch of potatoes and you cook your meat, it's going to save you so much time on just the cooking and the cleaning too, right? Because imagine if you were cooking meat just for one meal and you do that, and then you had to do that 5 other times throughout the week. How much time would that take you all combined compared to if you cooked all that meat all at once and you had it like ready to go? Now, of course, however you're storing that, however comfortable you feel eating something that's been in the refrigerator for a few days, everybody has their own kind of feelings about leftovers. But you can also a lot of times freeze some of these meals, right? If you cook something and you're not going to get to it for a handful of days, you might want to freeze it rather than just have it sit in the refrigerator. That's totally whatever is comfortable for you, and what you feel good eating. But I know that it saves me so much time to do the food prepping that it's almost stressful for me to like cook things at the time of, right? And I'm like, oh man, this is going to take me 20 minutes to prepare this meal before I get to eat it. I want to eat right now. I'm hungry. And, for those of you that know me well, I eat a lot of food, right? I weigh about 190 pounds right now. I'm like close to the highest I've ever weighed. I think maybe when I was playing college football at one point in time, I maybe got up to 193, but that was only for like one season or a short time. Usually I tended to sit in this like 180, 185 range. But lately, as my goals have shifted from kind of more running to more lifting, I've been lifting heavier. My lifts are getting up there, getting stronger, and I've been eating more. I've been eating a lot of food. I've been really trying to prioritize the protein, and we're seeing that pay off in some like in-body scans and things that I've done. But what it means is, I got to have food ready to go because I'm going through a lot of it on a daily basis. And I know a lot of people who really try to prioritize their health and fitness do the same things. Now, not everybody lives in the exact same situation that I do, right? My wife and I currently have no children. We have 2 cats, and they would love to eat some scraps of our food prepping, but not everybody has the same time a bit available to them, or situation that they live in and ability to prep this food. If you're struggling to do that and you're struggling with time or whatever the aspects of your nutrition would be, and you have the finances to do this, I would recommend, especially if you're stopping at, a sub place, a fast food place, or anything like that, I would highly, highly recommend one of these food preparation companies. These are getting a lot more popular. One of our favorites in town is called My Fit Foods here in the local Denver area. They do food preparation. They have meal plans. You can go in there, pick up your food. They actually do delivery, I believe. Um, they have multiple locations and they do the food prepping for you. Does it cost a little bit more than if you were to buy the food and do it yourself? Yeah, sure, it does. But it doesn't really cost that much more than if you were going and buying meals on the go. Actually, it probably doesn't cost more at all. It's probably a wash at that point. And what you know is you're getting a much healthier version or a much healthier option that you can keep that consistency rolling. Now, there are other options here in town too. I know a place called Clean Eats. It's in our Denver Tech Center area. I'm a big fan of them as well. A lot of similarities to My Fit Foods as far as like how they're structured and how things go. And if you live in a different part of the country, I know there are other places too. So you might have one of these that are where you live. There might be some other things. I've heard of a place called Lean Feast before, and that was a food prepping kind of place as well. I believe that was in the Kansas City area when I lived there. But I know these places are getting more and more common. And what would be so cool to me is if these types of places that are prepping higher quality food, more like you would cook at home if you had the time. And this is geared more towards the busy person that doesn't have the time, or that's their challenge, and you're able to just pop in there, grab your food and go, or they'll deliver it for you. I would love to see these places kind of replace the fast food industry that we have. Now, I know there's so much money wrapped up in that. I'm sure that's not going to happen. There's too much money invested in the fast food and so much marketing. But how cool would that be? Right? Because then the convenience factor is still there, but the health quality of the food that you're eating is so much higher. And then, even just the environment when I walk into those places, everybody is so welcoming. I mean, the staff at those places that I've been in are just amazing. And, people are just like prioritizing their health and their wellness and their fitness. And that's why I wanted to give them a shout out on this show. So, I mean, this episode was pretty simple, right? But I was about to go downstairs and do some food prepping. So I just wanted to hop on the mic here and let you know why I do that. Because a lot of times I'm posting pictures on my Instagram. You might see pictures on our Physio Room Instagram page and tagged and stories and whatnot of different meals that people have. And I food prep for those main reasons. It helps keep me consistent. It decreases my chance for error. Like it takes away the number of choices that I have to make in the day. Choices are like willpower, man. And the fewer choices that I have to make, the more I'm able to keep that willpower muscle strong. It's easier for me on a cleanup and preparation standpoint to not have to like wash and clean the utensils, the air fryer, the pans, the whatever, numerous times throughout the week. I can just use them once for a longer period of time, clean it once. And then it saves me time, not just in the cooking aspect. Like if you add up all the cooking that you would do throughout the week, if you weren't prepping, it would take you more time. It saves you time to do it all at once, but it also saves me time in the mornings, right? If I can spend that like hour doing the food prep on the weekend, whether that's grilling or cooking a couple things, usually I'm trying to cook multiple things at the same time. It helps save me time, but then it also saves me time in the mornings. I can set that alarm a few minutes later. I can wake up because I don't have to like prepare my lunch for the day. I just have to grab the things, throw it in my lunch bag, and out the door I go. So it's really sped up my morning routine. And I think that has been one of the biggest reasons why I'm going to continue to do it. It's really kind of made me more efficient in my routine for the day. And then quite frankly, I know a lot of times people will balk at the idea of food prepping, or at least doing it in the way that I'm describing, where you're basically eating the same thing every day for lunch, because it's boring and they need more variety. And I can totally appreciate that. And my response a lot of times when those comments come up is, I try to spice up the variety of my things through spices, right? Like through different types of seasonings or different salts, different peppers, like whatever I'm using, to try and sprinkle in a little bit of variety that way. Or I basically just make the same thing, but maybe I'll use like a different meat. Maybe I'll have some chicken instead of the ground beef in one meal, but I'll still have the spinach and the carbohydrates, right? Up the potatoes. Like I basically have the same things, but I just mix and match different items, different type of meat, different different thing for carbs, different kind of potato, but like it doesn't add any more challenge to the prepping. It's easy. We're just doing the same things. So maybe I'll eat ground beef with red potatoes and spinach, and then the next day maybe it's chicken with sweet potatoes and spinach, and I still have that avocado in there. And I think you guys get where I'm going, but it doesn't have to be extra complicated. I love to use spices to mix things up and get a little bit of variety, because I used to say the same thing. Oh, I can't imagine eating the same thing every day. But now I basically do. And I enjoy the food that I'm eating. I'm not getting sick of it. I've been eating the same lunch for weeks, months, and I'm not tired of it yet because it tastes good. I look forward to it because I know it's going to taste good. I've had it every day. It tasted great yesterday, and I know it's going to taste good tomorrow. So it's really just become this routine, and it all boils down to that food prepping. So if you have any questions about food preparation, you're stuck, you're struggling, whatever that might be, please feel free to reach out to us. I would love to have a conversation with you and see how I might be able to be a resource, or anyone else on our team might be able to be a resource, or reach out to one of those other food preparation places that I kind of mentioned. I'll try to remember to throw a couple tags in the show notes for this so that you guys can easily access those and get in contact with those places if you want some assistance on the food preparation side of things. Again, this has been a blast hopping on here on The Code. I really appreciate you guys listening and tuning into this episode with me, Dr. Andrew Fix from Physio Room. Again, if you've been enjoying this show, or you have some comments that you would love to leave, it would be so amazing if you could hop on there, leave us a review, share some comments about what you enjoyed about the show. And, if you have other topics that you would love to hear about, please feel free to throw those in the comments too, because I would love to read those and try to tailor some of these episodes to exactly what you guys care and want to hear about. I really appreciate you spending your time with us wherever you're listening to this episode. We'll look forward to catching you on the next episode of The Code. Thank you so much. Have a great day.